So the Eagles will take on the Commanders at 1 o'clock on Sunday, where they will hope to finally put together a performance in which they play up to their full potential and they completely dominate the game. They're going to be missing some guys though, as the official injury report revealed that a few key players will be sitting out. DeVonta Smith will be good to go though, and he'll be in an interesting battle with rookie corner Emmanuel Forbes, who had some very interesting comments about the matchup. Also, could this finally be the week that Jalen Hurts plays up to that MVP level we got so used to seeing from him last year, and are Haason Reddick, Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, and the Eagles defensive line about to absolutely destroy the Commanders offense on Sunday? Well, we're going to talk about all that and more in this video today, so let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So the Philadelphia Eagles are just one of 3 3-0 teams left in the NFL heading into week 4, and they're coming off their best game of the season in which they easily beat the Buccaneers. Defensively, they were dominating, and offensively, they were very good, but there's still definitely some things they need to improve upon, particularly their red zone offense and not turning the ball over, which is something Jalen Hurts did twice last week. So now moving into this NFC East matchup, they will try and clean up those things. Meanwhile, the Commanders sit at 2-1 after having a quick start to the season as they won their first 2 games, but then last week they got hit with a reality check as they took on the Buffalo Bills and got absolutely destroyed by a score of 37-3 in a game where QB Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions and was sacked 9 times. So now this week they're surely a little frustrated and have all the motivation in the world to do everything they can to come out against a division opponent and have a bounce back performance. And it only helps their chances that they're for the most part healthy coming in, as they have just one player listed as out that isn't on IR, which is 3rd string running back Chris Rodriguez Jr. And then they have another player who's questionable in safety Percy Butler, who has played 55% of their defensive snaps this season, but everyone else for Washington is healthy coming into the game, aside from of course the guys on IR. Then for the Eagles, they'll be down a couple guys in this matchup, starting with receiver Quez Watkins, who obviously was out with a hamstring injury last week. Now he was back at practice limited a little bit later this week, but the Eagles have still decided that he's not ready and have ruled him out. And they've also ruled out safety Sidney Brown, who's also dealing with a hamstring injury that he suffered versus the Bucs, and this one definitely stinks because last week when Brown was actually able to get on the field before he got hurt, he played pretty well at both safety and the slot cornerback positions, and if he was healthy this week, there's a good chance he would have seen a significant role in one or both of these spots. But now that's obviously out the window with him being listed as out for the game. Now the good news is that the injury isn't thought to be serious, so he should probably be back by next week, but still it stinks we won't get to see Sid go after the promise that he showed last week. Plus it leaves the Eagles a little more thin at safety than they'd probably like, especially with Justin Evans being listed as questionable with a neck injury. So hopefully he's able to go, but if he's not, the Eagles will then have to start Terrell Edmonds, and they'll only have 2 safeties on the active roster for Sunday unless they end up elevating somebody off the practice squad. So let's just hope Evans is good to go and we don't even have to worry about that. But something the Commanders are definitely going to have to worry about this game is the play that seems to be the talk of the NFL recently, which of course is the Jalen Hurts, Jason Kelce led QB sneak play recently dubbed the brotherly shove, which of course is virtually unstoppable, and many people have gone so far as to give their opinions on it, saying it should be banned, or others even saying teams should try and injure Jalen Hurts to stop it. But despite these complaints from the NFL world, we know the Eagles aren't going to stop doing it anytime soon, and they'll no doubt use it multiple times versus the Commanders. So Washington's defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio was asked about his thoughts on the play, and this is what he said.
Hey Jack, the Eagles run that QB sneak with the running backs coming behind him, kind of pushing Jalen forward.
The push play.
The tush push, yes. Just kind of curious your thoughts on it, if you think it's legal or how it should be handled.
Well, it's not being officiated as illegal, so we just have to prepare for it. I mean, I would personally like to see it eliminated, not just because they run it better than anybody, although they do run it better than anybody, but I don't think that's a football play. I think it's a nice rugby play. And it's not what we're looking for in football. But until it's outlawed, we'll prepare for it and get ready to do our best to stop it.
So again, I don't understand this argument that it should be banned because it's not a football play. I mean, football has taken multiple concepts from other sports in the past, and other sports have done the same thing. So this argument that it's a rugby play and not a football play doesn't make any sense to me, especially considering at the end of the day, it's just a QB sneak with an added variation of a couple people pushing from behind, and most of the time, Hurts gets the first down without the help of the pushes from behind anyway. It's the offensive line, and again, Hurts that make the play so successful, so I think Del Rio is wrong about that, but I at least got to give him credit for giving the Eagles their props by saying that they run it better than anybody. And now Del Rio is going to have the impossible task of trying to stop it on Sunday afternoon. But speaking of impossible task, let's talk about the job that this Commanders offensive line is going to have up against that stout Eagles defensive line in pass rush. I mean, these dudes have been unbelievable all year in terms of generating pressure and stopping the run, and they still haven't had that ultra dominant performance yet where they get a bunch of sacks and completely shut down the opposing team's offense. But that performance could be coming on Sunday, as the Commanders offensive line has not been great to start start the year so far, as they've already allowed 19 sacks through 3 games, including 9 last week versus the Bills. So with the Eagles' defensive line the best group that they've faced yet, things could get ugly, and Sam Howell may have a tough time getting any sort of comfortability when he drops back to pass. I mean, these dudes that are rushing the passer for Philly have a real opportunity to take over the game. I think there's a very real chance we see a breakthrough game from Haason Reddick, who just got the cast off his thumb earlier this week, and we all know he has yet to record a sack this year, but I got a strong feeling his first one is coming this week, with him being back to 100% and going up against this weak Washington offensive line. Then to add on to that, Jalen Carter has been unbelievable to start his career, and I think there's a shot he has a great game, and he also got Fletcher Cox, who seems to be turning back the clock so far this year, as Fletch has faced a lot more single teams this year than he's used to because of the presence of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis also on the interior, as those guys are the ones facing more double teams. So Fletch has definitely made the most of those opportunities where he is just being single teamed, as through 3 games he's got 0.5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 5 quarterback hurries, 5 quarterback hits, and 8 pressures. And Fletch feels the benefits of having those young guys around too, as he said, quote, "I think it's the young bucks making me feel young. Being around the guys, I'm the oldest guy in the room besides Coach Rock. I think the next oldest guy is 26. I feel their young presence and energy, and honestly, that's kind of what I've been feeding off of. It's been really fun, and we talk about it a lot." So hopefully Fletch is able to keep having fun and feeding off these young guys versus the Commanders on Sunday. And then you got even more guys on the Eagles defensive line that can dominate as well. So really, this Commanders offensive line could be in big trouble, and I honestly see this being a game where the Eagles defensive line goes off for like 7 or 8 sacks, which then means Sam Howell probably isn't going to have a very good day. Maybe the pressure forces him to turn the ball over a couple times, just like he did last week. Plus, we know that the Eagles defense is capable of forcing turnovers, and then those Washington receivers, which is probably the strength of their offense, won't be able to have as much success, assuming again the defensive line is able to wreck the game like I expect them to be able to. And then to add on to that, I also expect the defensive line to shut down the run game as they've done all year. Obviously last year the Commanders were able to hand the Eagles their first loss of the season by sticking to the run and going at the Eagles defense's weakness last year, which was their run defense, and in turn they were able to control the clock, which helped them to win the game. But this year the Eagles run defense has been the best in the league through 3 weeks, and I expect nothing different in this game. So overall, Washington's offense could be in for a really rough day. But then switching over to the other side of the ball, this is where the Eagles have struggled to find consistency at times this year, but there are reasons to believe that this is finally the week where everything clicks and they have a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. So don't worry, we're going to get to that in just a minute, but real quick here, I just want to say, if you are enjoying this video, I want to see others like it coming in the future, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Around 80% of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed. If you're one of those people and you love the Philadelphia Eagles and don't want to miss any content covering them throughout the rest of this season, make sure you fix that right now, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any future videos are uploaded. I think that's a win-win for the both of us. And now with that being said, let's get back into the video. So probably the biggest strength of this Commanders team is their defensive line, as on paper they got a bunch of really talented guys that can get after the QB and also stop the run. But last week they didn't show it, as not only did they not get a single sack, but they also got 168 rushing yards put up on them when the Bills aren't even really a dominant running team. So if the Commanders defensive line plays like that again this week, that makes it sound like DeAndre Swift could be in for another great performance, as him and that Eagles offensive line have been unstoppable these past 2 weeks. I mean, Jason Kelce and those dudes up front have been so physically imposing, and Swift has shown both his ability to be elusive in the open field and run through the lanes that the offensive line creates for him, but also his ability to fight through contact. So again, there's a very real chance that the Eagles have another dominant day on the ground, but that's not where the Eagles offensive questions come from. We know that they can run the ball. The questions this season have been in the passing game, where Jalen Hurts has not quite looked like that MVP caliber player that we saw last year through these first 3 weeks. But I would argue that he's looked better as the season has gone on, and yes, I know, he just threw 2 picks in the last game, but one was a clear miscommunication, and other than those mistakes, he just looked better. I mean, he was more decisive with where he wanted to go with the ball, he was accurate for the most part, and he made some great plays against a good Bucs defense. But again, it still was not the MVP caliber performance that we were hoping for. So now going into this game, Hurts is going to look to finally have that performance where he reminds everyone just how good he's capable of being, and get back to that standard of where he was last year. And no, it's not going to be super easy because the Commanders have a respectable defense, their secondary is pretty good, and their defensive line, again, when it gets going, can be dominant. So in order to counteract that, it would benefit Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense to just try and get the offense rolling with some quick throws to start out, and Hurts just in general needs to be faster at getting rid of the ball, as this year he's been tied for 4th slowest in the league for average time it takes to throw. Now I think that this could just be a result of the Eagles having a new offensive coordinator and just still trying to get into a rhythm, but regardless, he needs to be better. And in this game specifically, if he holds onto the ball, that could allow the Commanders defensive line to start dominating and really hurt the Eagles offense in turn. Now for me, based on what I know about Jalen Hurts and having watched him throughout his career and his MVP caliber year year last season, plus the 3 games this year, I think it's only a matter of time before he gets back to that MVP level, and I think again, through the Eagles' 3 games this season, he has shown improvements in each game. And with this being a division opponent at home and with the offense starting to get into a rhythm, I think that this could finally be the game where he just goes off and everyone remembers just how good he is. And of course, it only helps to have some stars to throw the football to. One of those guys being DeVonta Smith, who in the first Commanders game last year arguably had a career day, where he put up 8 catches for 169 yards and a touchdown. And he's surely going to be looking to replicate that performance this week, but his matchup is going to be ready for him, as rookie cornerback Emmanuel Forbes has a little history with DeVonta Smith going back to college, and that makes this matchup something he's been looking forward to for a long time.
Is it any receiver you just like, you know what? I can't wait to play this dude. Maybe it's old vendetta. Maybe it's just somebody you looked up to or somebody you watched. Anybody?
DeVonta Smith.
No, it's a little rivalry there, right?
I had him my freshman year. He went for 250 on that.
Now, if you're wondering what the exact stats were last time Smith took on Forbes, Smitty had 11 catches for 203 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, can Forbes have a bounce back performance this time? I don't know. I mean, the kid's a nice young player, but he's only a rookie at the end of the day who has struggled with guarding double moves early in his career. Plus, no matter who he's matched up against this week, whether it's Smitty or AJ, it's going to be a tough task regardless. So, if I was a betting man, I'd say either one of those guys gets the best of the rookie. So I guess we'll see, but what do you guys think? Who wins this battle between Smith and Forbes? And also, let me know your final score predictions down in the comments. I'm personally rolling with the Eagles to win in their most dominant effort yet by a score of 35-17, but that's just my opinion. So again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And also, if you don't want to miss any more coverage on this game or any other Eagles content coming throughout the rest of this season and moving forward after that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss when any videos just like this are uploaded in the future. Also, drop a like on this video if you did enjoy to show some support. And also, if you want to watch another video just going over the Eagles defense and some big news that came out earlier in the week, you can go check this out right here. Now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.